It's the Wildcard Podcast. Let's get started.
And welcome back to the Go Live Studios in Phoenix, Arizona. This is episode 16 of the Wildcard Podcast. It is the pre-MLB Trade Deadline show, so we're going to get a little risky with it today. Actually, this is episode 15. I apologize. Abbreviated crew today. Kurt is somewhere between here and the East Coast on an airplane. Does anyone know? Is that right? Is that the truth? I feel like he was in Boston 2 nights ago. And then he just said he wouldn't be here today, so I'm just going to hope he's right about that.
Did an East Coast tour.
Yeah, he went to visit some baseball stadiums. Preston was unable to make it, so it's just me, my boy Jason Kuzi, and, of course, good old Chance LeBlanc. We love that. That's good for us. Let's start with, I guess, the abbreviated elephant in the room. Lucas Giolito got traded, but he's not a Arizona Diamondback, which means no one is coming anywhere near my hair with a shaver, and I'm keeping it until I'm ready to get rid of it on my own. I'm very happy about that. But on the other side, we talked about it a little bit before the show, and we're kind of push into this here. They've decided to keep Dylan Cease. Chance, I feel like you don't like that. I feel like you think that that's not a good idea for the White Sox.
I don't understand the reason why they would. I mean, you just traded your second best pitcher. You're 41-59. Just got embarrassed by the Chicago Cubs at home.
Blew a lead.
Blew
a
a 7-2 lead. Yeah. Gave up like 7 straight runs. I don't understand that. I mean, it could be wrong.
That's the bullpen's fault, by the way.
I don't know. It makes no sense to me. I mean, just blow it up at this point. We've been saying this since April.
Yeah.
Before the season. I think
the start of this podcast.
I think that before the season started, we've been saying to blow it up. But I mean, whatever they want to do. I mean, unless they want to keep him as their main piece going forward and build around that. But I mean, I don't think he'll be too happy with that. He's got to say something at some point if they do move on with him.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna give it to Preston. I look really dumb saying that the White Sox are going to win 90
over
games
90.
this year. This is ridiculous. This is bad. Like, this is beyond repairable at this point.
So blow it up.
I don't think that you blow it up that bad. Like, you still have to prepare for the future. Like, we know that they have a good young. See, I don't even want to say young pitching core because I feel like some of their minor league guys are going to take a while to get up. But they have good guys down in the minors that can pitch, and they have solid middle infielders. Jonathan India was someone that the White Sox were supposedly in on, which I feel like is a step backwards until we get rid of Tim Anderson because I'm really tired of TA. I would like.
I mean, no one wants out more than Tim Anderson. He hasn't hit a home run in over a year.
he needs to change.
It's pretty obvious how he's playing, how he's feeling. So
that is so upsetting that he just can you imagine? He's like, yeah, I know how to hit the ball. I just waited for them to trade me. He just gets traded.
The craziest part about that all is like 2 years ago, he was like one of the best hitters in the league, batting like .330 consistently.
Yeah,
with
I know.
Good pop.
Like
I remember.
Homers, yeah.
I remember. Now they have to deal with a tough 4-game set against the Guards. That's going to be.
Those are always fun.
Totally not painful for me to watch. And I haven't even watched much White Sox baseball this year just because I'm just trying to prevent myself from the inevitable days of crying that I'm going to have. But it feels.
I think it's kind of funny how I'm having more fun as a Nationals fan this season with like the same record
than I am as a White Sox fan.
You have 10 times more talent.
It just doesn't feel fair. Does that make sense? Is that good? You've been through it. And to say that you didn't feel pain last year when you lost in the National League Championship Series is an understatement, or in the World Series. My apologies. So you've been through it.
Understatement.
The Nats have been through it. I just hate losing. That's all it is. It
sucks though, but as my dad always said when I was growing up, when I would get off the couch about to cry to my room, he would say, "There's always next year." Mm-hmm. There's always next year.
I've been saying that since I was 6.
I said that a lot with the Nationals, and they finally won it.
I can't keep saying it anymore. The Nationals came out of nowhere. I feel like the Nationals were one of those teams that they had that really bad start to the year that year, if I remember correctly.
I vividly remember Davey Martinez getting ejected after getting swept by the Marlins. 19-31 record on May 24th, and we proceeded to kick ass the rest of the season.
Boys really stepped up in Washington.
Well, I don't know if we can talk about, Kurt, sometimes. Says I can't reflect on the past too much. Even though,
well, he's not here, so do what you want.
The one thing he reflects on is the 2017 wildcard game. But we won't.
How he should have been there.
We won't get into a roast session, but
His dad overslept and missed the ticket buying window.
Yeah.
I remember.
It's a top game of all time.
I feel like, I don't know. I hate this feeling of like sitting in this pit of like, oh, I expected them. I was told this was the year after
2 years ago.
You win the AL Central.
I think 2 years ago was y'all's year, and that you ran into the Astros. So did everybody else, but
no, we didn't even beat Oakland that year.
that was the COVID year. I'm talking.
Oh, you're talking about the
yeah.
I mean, the Kane guy year. Yeah.
Oh,
That wasn't it. That was not the year
gut
for us.
punch.
That was a gut punch. It was a very big gut punch. But I just can't believe that in dealing. Giolito doesn't really bring in much. I feel like that's kind of what
he's on a rental deal, right?
Right.
So yeah,
I feel like you win that trade in the sense of you bring in guys who have a bright future. I mean, there's a possibility that these guys turn out to be okay. One of them was in the rookie league this year, Complex. Oh man, I'm getting flashbacks of I'm getting Alek Manoah flashbacks. This does not feel good for me right now. Oh man. Oh, this was a horrible. Dude, why does every Chicago team trade so horribly? What is going on with my freaking organizations?
I'm looking at your guys' contracts right now. You guys are kind of in trouble. You guys are in a lot of trouble because half of your
money.
team is under contract through 2025 or 2026 and beyond. And these are your top guys: Benintendi, Grandal, Moncada.
That's all I need to do.
Luis
here.
Benintendi was the first one. You don't even have to keep talking after that. Well,
And then also looking at this, and I hate to say this, but like this team should win 95 games. Looking at the talent,
Yeah, Louis.
And you forget about Elvis.
Elvis.
Tim Anderson.
so it was reasonable for me to think that they would win 90 games this year.
That's fair.
In April. Right, let's put this how it was.
at the time.
And then they just
I think from my fan perspective,
Imploded.
just seeing how you guys perform, I knew it wasn't happening. Like the last 2 years have shown me enough. It's just like, yeah, you need to move on from all this. And then I texted you the other night too about Andrew Benintendi getting 5 years, $75 million. I just learned that the other day.
Huh?
They gave him
beginning of this year,
75
5 years,
million.
75 mil.
75.
Good luck moving him. So looks like you're building around Andrew Benintendi potentially.
That's wild.
Oh, it just keeps getting worse. Oh my God.
It's more than we pay Corbin.
On the bright side, you got Grandal's a free agent next year.
Ship him.
That's a good one. Get him out of there. Kenyon Middleton in the bullpen. He's on a really low deal. Then you lose Tuki Toussaint, who we talked about, and he's been bad. And then some of our younger guys. There's just guys here that the Giolito trade I have a different feeling for because they went through the arbitration process with him. He won, obviously. He got his 2-year deal, and now it expires this year. The conversation was, what do you do at the end of the year? Do you re-sign him? Do you bring him back? Like, that's still an opportunity they can do, is re-sign him and bring him back and make him a pitcher in the organization again, but I just don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't, especially when he's going home and it looks like the Angels, which I'm very happy about.
They're buyers.
It looks like they're going to be buyers. It looks like they're going to be.
They're doing everything they can to keep Shohei.
Yeah. I think the 1-2 punch with Shohei, Giolito, Pablo Sandoval, and then you got Reed Detmers.
Reed's a solid 4.
Decent starting.
He's coming back.
You got two lefties in there too, so decent starting 4. I think they might end up trading for another starter. Definitely got to get some bullpen pieces, but it's good to see the Angels finally making moves like win now and committing all in. I mean, Trout comes back potentially later this month or in end of August. So
they're fighting. They're fighting for a wild card spot. I mean,
the Angels.
They're just in a tough division. It's kind of like
the AL West has been tough this year.
Kind of like the NL West was for us and the Giants. There's always one team, or the Dodgers were ahead, the Astros and the Rangers, and then us and the Giants fighting for second and third, kind of like the Angels and Astros or Rangers. Whoever finishes that.
I think the
Rangers won't do it.
I think the trades have been like set out now. So I think though it was kind of like a waiting game that was going on with a lot of teams. Like the Chapman trade happened really early, caught a lot of teams off guard, and now that these couple of trades have happened, Carlos Santana going to Milwaukee now. I like
it's time to go.
That was today, yeah.
That was today. I like
Santana
that pickup for
to the
depth.
Brewers.
But I think now that the table's been set for a couple of these trades, teams are now looking. They're like, all right, time to make some moves. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of moves tomorrow and Saturday, and then obviously throughout the rest of the weekend.
Oh, I'm pumped for tomorrow's pitching matchup.
What we got?
We got Gilbert versus Tommy.
Should be
Or
good.
D-backs
That will be a
versus
good one.
Mariners. Two
Big
good,
series too.
two kind of future aces, I guess you could say.
If Tommy
they
Henry can pull it together,
both
I'm a
for sure.
Tommy Henry stan.
Me
I've
too.
been really high on him.
Michigan baby,
Gilbert's a
My,
good pitcher.
my
out of
big
Stetson.
lefty.
Logan Gilbert.
How about Merrill coming back?
I was there on Tuesday night for that game. He shoved.
They need it.
He
The
looked good.
Diamondbacks need it. That's
That
something.
fastball was
That's
popping.
huge.
I was
having back.
thinking about that on the way in today. What if, and this is just completely knowing that Ketel's there and obviously Geraldo and Nick Ahmed. What if the Diamondbacks trade for Jonathan India? They have some of the younger guys, and don't jump in yet. They have some of the younger guys that they can kind of bring to it and be like, hey, like here's what we'll offer you. Here's what we're willing to give you. Like there's a chance that they can pay the price that the Reds are asking for. But would it make sense? I don't think so.
Not with the way Ketel's been hitting.
Right. Yeah, DH Ketel maybe. That way you keep him in the lineup.
I think you keep Ketel in the field. I think he's having his best season since 17. He's making a lot of great plays. I'm just kind of skeptical on what they're going to do, though, just because, like, I get it. Perdomo was an all-star. He's having a great season defensively and at the plate. But, like, I just don't understand what the mindset with Torey Lovello is recently when you play Nick Ahmed and then you play Perdomo. It's like Perdomo's an all-star. You should be playing every day. You play Nick Ahmed every now and then when you need a guy to sit down and rest.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like 3 games this week already.
Well, that was another thing we kind of talked about, like, you know, before the show too, was, and this comparison is super cross, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. We compared the running back situation in the NFL where you have 2 guys that can
Pay
do that 1-2 punch, and you can switch them out game in, game out. If you do that with Geraldo and Nick Ahmed, I think it shows that you're trying to preserve Geraldo for ultimately an imminent playoff run this year. You don't want to obviously put him in every game and, you know, have him get hurt if he gets, you know, to a point where he's overworked. I think Nick Ahmed should be trade bait. I think this is also something that we've been talking about since the beginning of the year
For years.
and even you can throw Longoria up on the market and be like, hey, look, if you'll give us something young or a couple guys, something that we can use, I think that they should do it. However, Longoria's bat has been very hot this year,
I
unfortunately.
think a lot of teams would love Longo.
Everybody loves Longo.
That
man.
veteran addition. That
He's a
can
museum
kinda-
piece. He's a museum piece. Call it what it is.
He's hitting, though.
He's old.
A piece that
Joel.
I think that and this is what we were talking about before the show too. It was like, what are they even gonna do? Because it's like you're sitting. Look at the standings real quick. But
You're now 4 games behind the Dodgers. When you came into the break, tied with them. After their last game before the break, they were tied, and now they're 4 games back.
So
One back.
So at
of-
this point, you're looking at the rest of the month of August, and you're looking at you play the Padres twice in a series, play the Dodgers twice in a series, and then, I mean, we've been saying this for I think a month now. Every series right now is big. So like this weekend, it's just tough because it's like, do you want to go all in? Do you want to trade for a solidified rental starter to make that run? You have the big 3, and then you got Riley Nelson and Tommy Henry, who have been fantastic the last 2 months. Or do you just trade for some back-end bullpen pieces to shut it down, and then you just ride with the 4 starters you got now? Me, I think they trade for a starter and a key bullpen
And a
piece.
bullpen.
And then you kind of get a utility guy. You got a lot of guys in the minor league systems, Josh Rojas. You got a lot of guys down there, Pavin Smith. Even Lourdes Gurriel on a rental deal. I wouldn't be surprised if they were to take offers on him getting traded. And now they're half game out of the playoffs too. And you got the Cubs coming up. I'm expecting the Padres to be
Phillies.
buyers. The Phillies are in the mix. I mean, you got 5 legit teams competing for a wild card spot here,
I kind of skipped ahead
The
here.
Giants are always a hot market, too.
and they play them next week. So
I kind of skipped ahead here just to look at the schedule. After you end August with, let's see here, 4 straight against the Reds at home, 3 on the road against the Dodgers. You get the 31st off. You start September
Baltimore.
1st. You got 3 against Baltimore, 3 against Colorado, 4 against Chicago in Chicago,
it's always tough.
4 against the Mets in New York, and then 3 at home against the Cubs before you have 1 off day before a 2-game set with the Giants. They have a very hard second half of the season coming up. Like this is something
Yankees,
again.
White Sox, Astros.
Don't give the White Sox more credit than they
I'm not
deserve.
giving them
This is something I also talked about. If you kind of look back at it,
It's a tough.
I was very big on the fact that they have to be consistent. You can't start the second half of the year slow and hope to still make the playoffs, because this is when you're going to get the bigger division matchups. 2 against the Dodgers, August 8 and 9. The 10th off, 11, 12, 13 against the Padres. And then you get 3 against the Rockies, 4 more against the Padres. And then 2, like, this is their stretch now that they're in. This part of the season is where they're going to have to, it comes down to crunch time.
That homestand from August 21st to August 27th, when we face the Rangers and Reds.
That's a wicked 5 games, 7 6
Yeah,
games.
we need to win at least 4 of those.
And then to cap off the month with 3 in LA, that's tough. Like, that is, you have
Doesn't get any easier.
You have a huge road stint in the middle of it too. I mean,
I can't even look that far, honestly, because like I'm just.
That's the middle of August.
From my
perspective, not far out.
I only say that because from my perspective is like I can't look that far, because after this weekend I'll look that far, because after this 4-game series 4-game series, 3-game series,
3 games
with Mariners, who's blistering hot on offense right now, coming in.
Yeah, Julio's
same position, honestly. I mean, they're uber talented. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do. I mean,
good division,
great division.
Young
you got 4
team.
teams make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Beautiful future.
So
they're a solidified outfielder franchise.
Yeah,
It's tough too. And the trade deadline is during a series versus the Giants, which is arguably could be the biggest series heading into the biggest month of the season.
We gotta take care of business, man. I don't know what the deal is, but getting swept in Toronto and then go into Atlanta and
that's such
whooping and then getting swept again.
Toronto's such a heartbreaker too, because it's like they don't feel like they're that good this year. You know, the AL East, don't get me wrong,
they feel a step behind. I know what you're saying.
AL East has been super competitive all season, but Toronto has been that middle of the pack team there. They've they've been above 500 for as long as I can remember. They were 57. They are 57-46 now. Some of their offense I feel like isn't producing, and I feel like you haven't heard as much about their pitching on the positive side because everything's so plugged up with the Alek Manoah stuff going on. But I feel like when you lose series to teams, and I'm even willing to say that the July 4th game against the Mets was a super serious turning point too. Still, again, one of those things that was before the break, but that starts 6 straight games before you get into the All-Star break, and you come off with a mid-road team in the AL East, one of the top divisions in baseball, and you lose those 3. That's a tough road to sit in. That broke them. I feel like they have to, you take 2 or 3 against the Braves in Atlanta, that's huge. You lose all 3 against the Reds. Ugh. You lose 2 against the Cardinals, who are, on paper, much worse than the Diamondbacks.
Goldie was back home.
And that series just felt to me like, I've been saying that for a while now. Like, I remember I was watching the Cardinals National Series out of the All-Star break, and I was like watching, and I'm just like, it's 7-2 in the 6th inning, and I'm like, this is how the Cardinals have been playing all season. Like, they're 10 times more talented than half the teams in the league.
Yep.
I mean, they got 2 MVPs in their team. They got 2 Cy Young pitchers.
A shit ton of Hall of Famers.
They got one of the best pitchers of our generation on their team. I'm very interested to see what they're going to do, just because they have openly come out and said that they're going to be sellers, but they're going to keep their main pieces. Yeah. So, Flaherty, that's an arm to look at. He's having a bounce back season.
The Cardinals are going to have to make that decision like tomorrow.
Yeah.
When you're 3 games out from the deadline, you're going to have to make that decision on if you're buying or selling. And whatever you decide, you got to stick with it here on out.
I think they're selling, but I mean, I've said this to a couple.
Decided.
I would say conservative seller. They're willing to sell if they have to, but they'll buy when they feel like they want to and when they feel like they need to.
And they have young guys that they're willing to give up too. I remember last year when they were going to potentially trade for Soto, they were like, Gorman's available, Donovan's available. Like, these are young,
Donovan,
very great hitters. Gorman, another great guy.
Man, I'll tell you what, if there's somebody I want to have on the base path, it's Brendan Donovan right now.
He's a stud.
He was killing us just with running the bases.
New Bar too. That's another name. They got
huge
4
bat.
Guys. Yep, had great series versus the Cardinals.
That deep center shot.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had that pop in him.
I didn't know that fan reached that far across the wall for it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I turned it on as that happened.
The Seawalk homer.
That's gonna be tough because it's just there's just so much going on, and the Diamondbacks are one of those teams where we're gonna kind of push into that a little bit. They have to
make a move
that benefits them before it's too late.
Marcus Stroman.
You can't sit in a position where you have a bullpen that's lacking very obviously lacking after your starters are able to get consistently good outings, great innings. Merrill Kelly back from injury, shoved on Tuesday, like you said.
He looks phenomenal.
Huge.
Zach Gallen looks great still, even though he kind of got hit around against the Cardinals. I won't lie to you.
Flaherty, and then
But-
our bullpen kind of sold.
But then you bring in the bullpen. You get to the situation where,
So bad.
was it
There's been 2 consistent arms out of the bullpen all
night
season,
was it?
and it's been Kyle Nelson
Ginkle.
and Ginkle.
Ginkle's been
And I'll tell you what,
turning up.
I love Ginkle, and I was at that game Tuesday night, and I was just watching him out there, and I was like, this guy is a psycho. And it's like, if you want to have a closer, you need a psycho closer like that.
It was it was against the Braves when he was going at it with Acuna.
I love it.
And
Love
Acuna
that
was
stuff.
like
when he
staring
walked
down
Acuna
on
back? I was like, all right, this is real.
I was
Yeah,
like,
he's psycho.
He kind of just he wants to bring that energy to the bullpen,
Yeah.
which they so
They
fucking
need it.
desperately need.
Yeah.
Because they have not had somebody just to rally around like that in
So what do you-
years.
what do
Not
you
since
guys-
Archie.
What would you guys feel about them trading for David Bednar? I know Preston's talked about it a little bit. You get 3.5 years of control. You get an all-star guy. I mean, I don't think the Pirates would be
I wouldn't mind it.
crazy to give him up just because
Him and Mitch Keller.
They're not getting rid of Mitch.
Give him
Mitch
Lawler.
will be there. They're not getting rid of Mitch. This is the year that Mitch Keller's had a really great season.
Been awesome. Hello.
I would love to see them bring in Mitch Keller and add another great arm to their rotation. You don't need to do that. It's not, in my eyes, you don't have to do that. They have a really good rotation, like I just said. Their bullpen is the only place they're lacking. If you're going to bring in anybody, bring in a bullpen arm.
2 starter names just before we can move on, maybe some other topics of the deadline. But Jordan Montgomery, the lefty from St. Louis,
St.
is having
Louis.
a pretty good year. And then Michael Lorenzen. That's a
I
name
was going to
in
say
Detroit.
Lorenzen from the
Yeah.
Detroit.
I definitely think he'd like to get out of there. Older vet, proven pitcher, all-star this year.
Proven pitcher.
For sure. But there's a lot of guys out there. Like I said, every team's going to make a move. Doesn't matter how big or small. It's just a given.
Just can't.
Every team has to make a
I
move.
can't keep watching Austin Adams throw a slider down the fucking middle.
Or Miguel Castro, man.
Oh.
It's crazy what happened to all these
Or
guys.
Chafin
man.
throwing
Like,
a cutter.
Kenny Powers out there. Oh, man.
Hell, honestly, I would say put Zach Davies in the bullpen.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like we talked about this like 2 episodes ago.
We talked about Zach Davies and we talked about Brandon Pfaadt, which
Dog shit.
that's what I was waiting for. That comment right there.
One more piece too. Got a lot of Cubs fans, and they want to trade Drew Smyly. I know it's a name that's not very attractive, but proven veteran lefty. I could see him being a bullpen guy for a postseason team.
That's actually kind of a really good lead. I like what
I
the
can
Cubs
see
have.
that.
I like the
I love
Cubs'
it.
future. I
Love
think
it.
they look good. They're red hot right now. They've won, 5 straight games. 2 against
Big series tonight for St. Louis.
2 against my Chicago White Sox. 1 coming back last night. Kyle Hendricks looks much better this time of year than he did last year. Marcus Stroman was consistent all season. I know I said last year,
I want him.
and I said at the beginning of the podcast that he was a second half pitcher last season. He's been consistent and great all year. Do not get me wrong about that. The only issue I see with the Cubs is they're in that same situation. Are you buying or are you selling?
I've had conversations with Cubs fans, and it's a tricky situation they're in because I like coming into this MLB season, I was very high on them. I mean, they still have a shot to make a playoff run if they want to. It depends how much they want to sell, but like you bring in, I already liked the core they had. You got a lot of young guys, and then you bring in the vets like Dansby Swanson, Jamison Tyon, Marcus Stroman gets back to the Cubs. Then you got Seiya Suzuki, an order. He's been playing really well.
He's money.
It's tricky because if you want to sell, then you're like, what's the point of us bringing in Dansby and all these older guys to bring in a culture?
Yep.
But now they're winning. I could see them taking 2 or 3 this weekend with the bats as hot as they are. So I don't know. It's.
They just had a tough June.
I want them to be buyers, though. Trust me, I do. But it's just like I have a hard time seeing them turn down 2 top prospect pitchers from the Astros for Bellinger, or 2 top prospect pitchers from the Rangers for Bellinger.
Yeah.
I think
We'll see.
that's kind of like the team also where it's kind of like the White Sox as well. Both Chicago teams. It's kind of get your pick of the
Pick your poison.
pick your poison.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a lot of players on both teams that are very
There's a lot of good future.
Trade deadline, exciting
Yeah.
kind of players like Stroman, even Steely, Belly, Smiley, Tim Anderson, Luis, Eloy, Lance Lynn, Dylan Cease before a day ago. Like
Dylan Cease before a day ago.
there's something about those Chicago teams that they're not playing the way either of them should.
I love the fans, though, the passionate fans. I'll never get over it. Hey, I wanted to ask you real quick, where did you get your source on Dylan Cease not getting traded?
Bob Nightingale.
Really?
Mhm.
All right.
Suck it, Bob.
Why? What do you know that I don't know?
I just have a
Dylan
hard.
Cease just got down to the Diamondbacks.
I just have a hard.
Shave your head.
That means your head is gone.
No, he's just gone.
Can we do that? Shave your head.
Not until barring some
You're giving us all
major
Serpientes.
barring some major move by the Angels, Giolito, I'm safe from. I'm not even worried about that. Rick Hahn is very unpredictable, and the White Sox are scary. They're very scary because I don't know how much selling they're going to do. I've seen that Cease is off the market. That's the big thing, that I've seen he's off the market. However,
I've heard that before.
I also know that I have heard that before, where someone is off the market, a player's off the market, and we're not trading them.
Yeah.
And then you get the deal that flies across the desk.
That
looks really good.
Or they're debating it, and they're like, oh.
Ooh, Nick Ahmed, Pavin Smith,
Carson Kelly?
Future shortstops,
Kelly and Brandon Pfaadt.
we might have to do this.
TA and Cease, take them. Take them.
I would. I don't know. I hate this time of year. I hate the NHL trade deadline. I hate the MLB trade deadline. I don't mind the NFL one as much, just because it's not as
Breaks my heart.
not as greatly broadcast. But these trade deadlines are what get to me, because Chicago front offices are so inconsistent, and no one knows what the Sox are going to do.
I mean, if we're being honest, I think the biggest acquisition of the whole trade deadline will be Lane Thomas. If he is dealt.
MVP,
I mean, I pray to the Lord that he's not. But I mean, talk about the most underrated player in baseball, in my opinion.
I can agree to that. I really can.
I think I got you guys on the lane train.
You've been
You guys like
killing it.
Lane Thomas. Hey, man, good player. Great player. Top 10 in almost every stat.
I think I got you guys on the lane train. Toot-toot. Well, you kind of shoved it. No offense. No offense. You fucking shoved it down our throats.
I mean, like, I have to, because, like, it's one of the worst teams in the league, and he's, like, having one of the best seasons in baseball. I mean, you know.
New Mike Trout, really.
I mean, Preston.
I hope not.
Preston said that he's better than Julio Rodriguez. I don't know if I believe that.
What is up, Preston's at?
Where does that come?
Saying.
No.
He's trying to be a good
no.
You watch Julio this week?
He's going to watch Julio close and personal when they come to town.
Just peg him every time.
Besides the Cubs having to deal with the fact that they need to decide if they're buyers or sellers at the deadline, the big thing is their second half slammed full of talent. 4 against the Cards to end July. You get 4 against the Reds, 3 against the Braves, 3 against the Mets, a day off, 3 against the Blue Jays in Toronto. Then you get 2 against the White Sox. Disregard those games. Those don't matter.
Easy dubs.
3 against the Royals, 3 against the Tigers. Then you get 4 against the Pirates, 3 against the Brewers, and that's just through August.
Damn, so their best.
You got to pay. You got to
Pirates,
play.
White Sox.
A lot of winnable games.
You got to play San Francisco for 3, the Diamondbacks for 4. Those are back-to-back series. Then you get 3 against Colorado, 3 against Colorado in Colorado, day off, 3 against the Diamondbacks.
Who schedules
Here.
this?
This is the Cubs schedule.
Oh.
That second half is
That is
huge.
tough.
It's a
schedule.
A
huge.
lot of winnable games, though. Those division games are always toss-ups, in my opinion, for the division. So,
It's just so, man. But those 3 against the Braves to start August, following the 4 against the Reds, are going to be really good to watch. Those 3, and then the 3 against the Mets following right after that.
the Mets.
Dumpster fire.
What did the Mets do?
They're gonna get rid of Scherzer.
Playing the Nationals this weekend. It's my favorite series of the year.
Watch. Max Scherzer traded back to the Nationals.
I was here
Dear
and
God, can you imagine?
I read something about Verlander going back to the Astros. I don't know how true it was, but some guy was saying that.
Son of a bitch.
That's tough. That's tough.
It is tough.
Isn't Scherzer out for the year?
I'm Verlander, not Scherzer. I don't know about Scherzer.
No, Scherzer's. I swear, didn't he get
Are you sure?
hurt? Or am I? I'm tripping. I have to be.
I could be tripping.
If Scherzer gets dealt at the deadline this year, that means the Mets have fully committed to Kodai Senga. I think that's
They
what that
should
means.
commit to Kodai.
Very underrated.
That forkball's money.
Jose Quintana's a Met. He's looked much better in the later years of his career. He started out very horrible. They have a good bullpen.
Yep. Carlos Carrasco.
Don't talk about Cookie. Cookie's horrible. He's not been good for
Daniel
them this year.
Vogelbach. Man,
How did we get to Vogelbach?
Frank the Tank.
the best fan in sports.
I mean, like, I
history.
don't.
One of the worst first basemen this season. Looks horrible.
Yeah, Pete's trash. Nothing compared to Bryce Harper at first base. Already making the most insane defensive plays I've seen.
What do the Phillies do?
Bullpen for sure.
Bullpen
That's what they do every
and
year.
stay quiet. Don't get rid of anybody big. But they have this rookie, Johan Rojas, who's been low-key tearing it up ever since they brought him up a couple weeks ago. He's just been hitting, and he plays really good in center. I hope they don't get rid of him, but I don't know.
This time of year.
This time of year, anything happens. I trust Rob Thompson. I trust the boys. I really just think it's more Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler need to get their shit together. They don't look the same as they did last year. They were the true aces that led them to October and then shut down against the Astros,
Yeah.
game 5 and 6.
Can't be doing that.
They're looking like that right now. Tyjon Walker leads that team in wins, and I remember talking about it like a month or two ago, and Kurt was like, Tyjon Walker sucks, bro.
He also said Bellinger sucks.
He's
too.
like, Tyjon's not even your best pitcher. Well, he is. He
You
is
guys
our
calling
best
out Kurt
pitcher.
without him defending himself?
You know what? Damn straight I am.
I mean,
I'm
like,
sick of this shit.
He has nothing to defend because
He's not here.
I was right.
That's my big dude's not here. Like
I hate to switch the subject, but it just says now Dodgers have discussed Nolan Arenado trade. Arenado reporting for willing his no trade clause to go to LA.
No, dude.
well, Lance Lynn's willing to waive his too.
I mean, as he should. I mean, I think he should. He
Can't
should
catch a break with you.
I swear to God, if the Dodgers get Arenado, I'd rather just cry.
Yeah, and this is legit.
means I've seen him on the
Jorge
Rockies.
Castillo, the LA Times. That would be very interesting. He is from Southern California, so that's probably a reason why you'd want to do that. But
Yeah, but the only thing in my mind with that is it's not even a money thing. If you trade him there,
Who do you get rid of for Arenado?
and who do you get back?
probably give up. I mean, I
Bobby
know
Miller.
I know the Dodgers farm system is very loaded.
Robert Miller. That just doesn't seem right to me.
Oh, man.
That doesn't seem like a smart
I
idea.
feel like they'd have to give up some people, man.
You got to give up a hell of a lot.
Arenado's having an MVP type season.
Arenado's under contract through 2027,
Ooh.
and
Money's not an
he's
issue.
32 years old. It's never an issue for the Dodgers.
And his fielding is, I'm paying him that money no matter what. His hot corner.
I think they give up. I mean,
His hitting's been great this year too.
Miguel Rojas,
Who they were gonna?
who they probably won. I mean,
Who didn't swing the bat all spring training, but still
Get rid
somehow.
of Outman.
I could see Michael Grove, who's struggling
struck
this
out.
year. I don't think they moved Bobby Miller just because they like him a lot. That's their future.
Arenado's.
Kershaw?
Chris Taylor, maybe.
Ooh.
I've heard like a lot of this is the thing with the Dodgers. A lot of their guys have like been there for a
Best
while.
hitter with runner in scoring position. Chris Taylor.
Good old
hitter-
CT3.
Best
A
hitter.
couple
of all time.
prospects and maybe 2 guys on the roster. That's what I would predict. But I
think
mean,
they'd have to
who
get rid of
knows what
Outman.
happens.
They'd have to get rid of one of their good young guys if they want to really get Arenado, I feel like. Because I know the Cardinals will, everybody's willing for prospects and all that, but somebody who's playing that good this year, one of the best Gold Glover at third base almost like every other year,
Yeah.
having that MVP hitting season, I feel like they'd have to get rid of a solidified starter.
The Diamondbacks, yeah. The Diamondbacks. The Dodgers, no idea what the hell they're doing. You trade
They're just playing the show.
for Kike,
Yeah, I can't put a move.
and then you trade for Ahmed Rosario, which the Guardians taking Noah Syndergaard makes no sense to me. I don't understand it.
Who took Noah?
The Guardians
They
from the Dodgers.
I like
That was it was a 1-for-1 trade. That's what that trade was.
for who? It was
Ahmed Rosario.
Rosario for Syndergaard.
Yep.
Way to go, Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you do that. The Dodgers seem to have this need to fill a utility position. Why? Kike can do it. Kike can play third. Kike can play second. He can play short. He's the entire left side of the outfield. And he can play outfield. Ahmed Rosario is just empty money.
I don't know, and I don't see them really putting him in that lineup because their lineup is so stacked. Who do you put in?
Who do you put him in over?
Yeah, exactly.
Peralta on left, Mookie in right, or center.
Outman's killing it.
Yep.
Mookie's killing it.
You got Jason Hayward, who I don't think that they're going to be drooling to start. Having a good year though, double-digit home runs, but still strikeout-prone guy.
Hayward, the money man.
Hayward, the Cub guy.
I want to look at their lineup from last night: Mookie, Freddie, JD, Chris Taylor, Max Muncy, Enrique, Outman, Miguel Rojas, Austin Barnes. Will Smith is normally the starter. Austin Barnes is having a horrifically bad season.
He's poop.
I could see them moving Miguel Rojas as a main part of that. He's a solid hitter. Might not be the feel for him in LA. And they got farm guys. I'm not surprised the Dodgers are doing this, really. I think they're having a good year, but they know they can do better. And I think losing Trey Turner is a part of that. He was their best player last year.
He needs to step the fuck up.
He does.
My God.
But I don't know. I'm not surprised. They're going to be hella deep, though. I don't know.
I really hope I get to see the Phillies Dodgers in the playoffs.
That's
great.
That's the one thing I think.
Great series.
I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to look you in the face when I ask you this because I want to see your answer. Are they making up for losing Trey Turner by getting Kike and Ahmed?
No, I think Kike wasn't doing that well in Boston, and I think that he definitely probably wanted to come back to LA. And I think Ahmed Rosario on a rental deal, proven veteran guy, solid hitter. I think they're just bolstering up. I think they're just doing as much as they can.
Kike is literally listed as a utility guy. That is his position on MLB is a utility.
He's a locker room guy there.
So what the hell are they doing? Why bring in it? I think now that I'm thinking about it, that might have just been to get rid of Noah Syndergaard. And the Guardians were the only place that would take his contract.
And it's probably the best fit for him, too. He's probably going to pitch a lot better there, smaller market.
Worst division.
They develop pitching well.
Can dominate. He is kind of that.
Kike's batting .222 this year with...
He's on the 15-day IL.
6 home runs and 30 RBIs. It's nothing really crazy.
Muncy's hitting 190.
Muncy's not been himself.
I was going to say, I don't...
Muncy's so much better.
So there's your answer right there. They need some help.
They just need somebody to play everywhere.
I hate him.
I think Kike was that locker room guy for the Dodgers the past 4 or 5 years.
He was good.
He was there.
He was a great Dodger.
Everybody loved him. The fans loved him. The players. He brought that sort of charisma and
the lightheartedness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he played the game. He played the game of baseball the way most people want to see it played.
I don't know. I feel like
it's a weird trade, though.
Yeah, it's really easy to look at it like that. Because Kike's just one of those players where you don't expect him to be a blockbuster move, and I don't think we've hit any of those moves yet. Mm-hmm. I think we have a lot of time left until that happens.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, this is all going to blow up tomorrow just because it can.
What's going on with the glazing with Kike Hernandez, though? I just want to know,
glazing.
I don't like him. What? I just think he's a good fit for the.
I don't know. I'm just wondering. He's a career 240 hitter. He's nothing that crazy.
I'm not hating on him. I like him. I'm not hating on him.
I do too. I think he's probably one of the better locker room guys.
He's just always been what the Dodgers wanted, I guess.
He's been
years ago, all those playoff runs, he would have those clutch hits. He's
been a very successful Dodger. I don't want to take anything away from him. He's been very good as a Dodger. I just don't get it.
It's probably also a salary dump. Syndergaard was owed $21 million this year.
They gave
two different trades.
Money.
True, but
they gave up 2 prospects for Kike.
I thought it was straight up.
No,
they gave up 2 prospects.
They gave up 2 guys for Kike.
Huh.
That trade.
See, that's another thing. The Dodgers just have unlimited prospects to get rid of.
They really do.
Just give it.
Their minor league depth is incredible. At every position.
Because their major league depth is so good, they can just keep them there and
because they're the Dodgers.
Better and better and better and better, and then all they need is Outman to come out, and he's killing it.
They traded 2 pitchers, Nick Robertson, and Justin Hagenman to the Red Sox.
Hagenman.
The Red Sox are just a punching bag. Oh.
Man, poor Justin Turner. He's now all in Boston by himself.
Yeah.
He was with Kike, and
Yeah.
now he's just there. Probably feels left out, as he should.
Here's a good one. What do the Yankees do?
Fire Aaron Boone.
It's a good start.
I think that's what they need to do. I mean, I've been watching this guy say the same thing for the last 2.5 years. Oh, bro.
Let John Boy hire him. He already has him on every week.
Like he's been saying the same thing for the last 2 years.
Tony La Russa.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean,
There's the door. Goodbye.
they blame it on Aaron Judge being hurt when it makes no sense. He's been out for almost a month and a half now. Their offense stinks. Pitching is decent. Rodon has looked awful. Besides last night, he's looked awful.
I love that. I love that.
I don't know. It's good. The thing with that, though, I think it's good, though. It's better to focus on the teams that you don't talk about a lot. Like, I like talking about the Rangers. I like talking about
What do the Orioles do?
I like talking about the Reds.
What do the Orioles need?
I think the Orioles,
Hitting.
they need like I think they need,
Offense. Yeah.
that's just what they need, right?
I really.
I think they need a trade for like a vet bat. I think that's it. A vet bat and then maybe a starter. Their bullpen is amazing.
They just dropped 2 games to the Phils, and they were both comebacks. They're
IKF?
both leading.
From the Yankees?
Isaiah kind of.
I'm hearing Aaron Hicks potentially they could trade. I don't understand why they would do that, but I don't know.
Can I just run down this real quick? Judge, 2032. Giancarlo, 2029. Garrett Cole, 2029.
Oh.
Carlos Rodon, 2029.
Oh.
LeMahieu, 27. Rizzo, 26. Canely, 25. Like, what the hell are we doing here? What is going on here?
2026.
Guess who
Michael King, 26. Higashioka, 25.
Guess who they play tomorrow?
The Yanks?
The Orioles.
Yeah, it is true. That series.
Big
That'll be
series.
interesting. That'll be what both those teams look at right before the deadline.
Rodon's the deal, 6 years, 162 mil.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he had one no-hitter a couple years ago, and now he's...
Hey, that was a perfect game. I will stand by that. That was a perfect game.
Yeah, but
That was a perfect game.
that Guardian just
No, you just let his foot. BS.
didn't get out of the way. Yeah, I was pissed.
Either the Yankees or the Orioles need to make a huge splash in the AL East. There's no in between.
The Orioles won't do that. That's just not what they do. Their GM
I was
is
going to
not.
say, I don't
Not like a huge,
He's
not
not that
huge
guy.
isn't like, oh my God, trade away Adley Rutschman, but something that shows that they're also buying, right? The Angels did it. The Angels are out of the way. We all thought Shohei Ohtani might be gone. Some of us knew he wasn't going anywhere. They've made their move. Now it's time for someone else to pony up and be like, hey, we're next on the table. Let's do it. Let's get it done.
Marcus Stroman to the D-backs.
I'd love to see him as an Oriole.
I'm telling you.
That number 0 trotting out on the field.
In that Serpientes jersey, Chase Field rocking on a Thursday night, 40,000.
That movie, Show 23, goes hard in your mind, huh?
Yeah,
Jesus,
it-
kid.
No.
It's ridiculous.
I'll be convinced.
Tell me you don't want Stroman.
Honestly, could care less.
You're full of shit.
I just want the Cubs not to have him. Can I say
Yeah,
that?
that's fair. That's fair.
Shout out my brother, by the way, who is just this guy. I love him to death. Love him to death. Just came in from out of town, left on Monday. I get a text while I'm at work on Tuesday, this son of a bitch. In all caps, it says Cubs. So yesterday, I'm thinking, oh, White Sox are up 7-2. Let me just do it back. 6:57. All right, White Sox. He goes, uh-huh. 8:14. I reply, suck, ...
What a choke job.
How do you do that?
It's
You lose
embarrassing.
to your crosstown rival, and then you trade away a pitcher who is sitting on the market. Like, it's just a BS. It looks bad. It's a bad look.
The South Side's a little upset right now.
It's a bad look on the Sox. Horrible look, in my opinion.
Tell you what, they got some cool jerseys though. Those City Connects.
It doesn't matter what they look like. TA's gone. TA loves that thing. Let him take it with him. I'd give him the whole box of them just to watch him walk. Let him go to the Marlins. Give me a
God, if he goes to the mall,
TA for Luis Arias, straight up. That's what I want.
they're gonna be asking for a lot more than TA, just because the dude's somehow hitting 370.
For Luis Arias, you mean?
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna jack up his value just from this year. If anybody wants him this year, just because he's so close to that 400 mark.
I would send TA to Boston just to do it.
For Story?
Huh?
He's on the block.
Trevor Story will be good. Jonathan India, I like. I like the idea of Jonathan India being someone that the Sox bring in. I would love to see that happen. However, it just doesn't make sense right now. Give India a chance to go somewhere where he has a chance to win and compete. And if he does it, beautiful. If not, then you waste all this time for nothing.
I was going to say, he's just kind of living in the shadow of Ellie right now.
Yeah, I think that's where he kind of got it personal. It's like he was the guy a year and 2 ago.
He won the NL Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And then all these other guys come up. McLean's been balling. That Encarnacion Strand kid's been balling. Now he's kind of in the shadows. So it makes sense.
Well, gentlemen, we will reconvene after the trade deadline in episode 16 of the Wildcard Podcast. We thank you so much for listening on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and more. One more time from the Go Live broadcast studios in Phoenix, Arizona, alongside Chance LeBlanc and Jason Kuzno. My name is James Mackey. We will see you back, hopefully, with a full table, episode 16, post MLB Trade Deadline. Hopefully. Later.
You've been listening to the Wildcard Podcast. Download and subscribe today on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.